8:19, go to the 701 here in K-Fire 550. Now that Clay and I are all hungry after hearing that, right?
Yeah, serve it up, man.
That's not fair. I can't have any of that stuff in here. Everything gets all icky and sticky and stuff like that. How are you?
Good. How are you doing this morning? Sun's about ready to come up. I saw some mule deer already out in the yard. So, hey, it's a good morning.
There you go. Missouri Democrats' gun stunt that led to a reporter's injury just got even worse. Oh, great.
Oh,
what happened now?
So we covered this a little bit on Wednesday, but there wasn't a lot of information. If anybody hadn't heard, it's a Democrat Missouri Senate candidate, Lucas Kuntz, and him and another guy, they basically tried to stage a gun range day to prove they're gun owners. Well, that aside from all the safety issues that they ignored, they were shooting targets too close that were steel, probably 5 to 10 yards. There's a new report out there, and that's why I brought it up today, was because the way it looks, according to the Kansas City Star, they're reporting that one of the men that helped organize this entire snafu, basically, in a backyard range, as they were talking about, well, he evidently wasn't legally allowed to even possess or touch a gun or ammunition.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
What in the world?
And, this is the party that keeps saying, we got to have these common sense controls. We want to have the red flag laws, and we want to take away certain firearms because it's all for your safety to keep people who shouldn't have them away from firearms. Well, here's one of these guys it's a Senate candidate running against Josh Hawley down there, and one of his staffers evidently can't be near guns and ammunition. And I guess his name is Chad Everett Downs. He was nearby, and he spoke with a Star journalist saying that the range was his, but the event was taking place at his neighbor's residence. And the whole story goes on. It says that this Downs, who's the guy that basically can't be around guns, he lives across the way. The neighbor allows him to shoot on the property. And he showed the journalist the firearms that were on the table that belonged to him. Now, he said they belong to him, but yet, again, he's not supposed to be near them or owning them. So, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Court records show that Downs was charged with 17 counts of a felony perjury in August by the Ray County prosecutor, Camille Johnson. He has been issued a criminal summons. He waived his preliminary hearing. His ex-wife, in a court filing earlier this month, he alleged that the man owns or has access to guns in violation of his bond conditions. So the court records show that there's an issue. His ex-wife, she knew about these things and evidently reported it. And I kind of looked into this. Nothing was done and was kind of ignored. And he also was involved, this Downs is his name, involved in basically a felony child abuse case. This is according to a probable cause affidavit signed by the investigator of the prosecutor's office. It even has a case number for the case. Doesn't appear in the electronic court system, though, and kind of sounds like it may have been dismissed, but that's unclear. Again, there's no proof either way. So it's out there that this guy can't be around guns. He can't be around ammunition. He definitely can't own them. And here he is organizing an event for a U.S. Senate candidate, a Democrat, and there was some Republican guy there that we don't need to mention from Illinois, but I think it was. Because he's a rhino anyway. And they essentially staging this whole thing to see, I'm a gun owner. We're all good. We don't want to take your guns away. We're good people. And yet they keep doing this. Tim Walz, of course, couldn't operate his firearm, which, by the way, I love when he's not governor yet, but our next governor, Kelly Armstrong, came on our show.
I think they have to have an election first, don't they, though?
Yeah, they probably should. He came on
the presumptive governor. Yeah, okay, I get it.
With the actual gun, saying, hey, if Tim Walz is watching, I'm going to show everybody how this properly operates. He did it with ease. So,
and I was gonna say, and then I thought of Kelly. I was going to say perhaps politicians and guns don't mix, although I guess I wouldn't call Kelly a typical politician either. So, but
no, Kelly is the real deal, everybody. He knows his firearms. He knows how to operate them. Jamie and him and I have had many conversations now, especially on the show. And I'm telling you, this guy hunts, he shoots, he knows his firearms, he knows everything about them. And
but if you don't know, don't fake it. Don't try to be a fake Second Amendment supporter. I mean, okay, I don't know my way around guns. I support the Second Amendment, but I'm not going to go on video as some sort of gun expert. I know I'm not. Know your limitations.
And that's just it. And most people see through this. Take Trump. Okay, Trump is he's a supporter. He made some stupid mistakes in the beginning. Anybody can do that. Wasn't devastating, but it's been a lot of court cases now based on brewing over it. But he doesn't go around going to gun ranges trying to prove his knowledge or his accuracy or whatever. He may be a good shooter. I don't know. We don't know that he's not either.
Heck, I don't mind somebody going to a range and trying, but if they're trying to make it like, hey, here's me in my normal habitat, oh, stop it. We can see through it.
Exactly. And that's what the whole point of that is. You take Walls just recently. Obviously, he said he's owned that gun forever and shot trap with it, but he couldn't operate it. I mean, I know the gun too. I've got several different ones, brands, but I've also have that gun. And I'm telling you, it's not that difficult to operate.
Well, you'd be surprised.
Unless, of course, it was the first time you touched it. And you might have some issues, maybe even the fifth time.
But, I mean, was he out there trying to be a know-it-all, or was he out there? Because, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with a politician going, you know what, this is something I should have done years ago. I'm glad I'm getting the opportunity to now try it. And that's fine. That would be fine. But to do the photo op as, hey, here's me in my habitat here with my guns, and then you can't do a darn thing with one.
Exactly.
Come on, Fudd.
I think that's exactly what the people are getting at. They're like, whoa, wait a second. This guy doesn't know anything. Why fake it? Just why fake it? There's no reason to fake it.
There's nothing wrong with not knowing about something. Why do so many of those politician types feel like they have to be an expert on every single thing under the sun? Stop it. Sure.
Especially that, because people will see through it. They're going to see your fake. If you're going to fake that, what else are you going to fake? Plain and simple. And the even worse part is that this deal, a reporter who was covering the event, because they were shooting at these steel targets so close, got shrapnel damage to his arm. He had to go to the hospital. It wasn't life-threatening or anything, but you don't shoot with a high-power rifle at a steel target at 5 to 10 yards. So they didn't even know the protocol there. Because they're made to not go through it, right? It's probably AR-500 steel. So the bullet isn't going to penetrate that. So you're going to have fragments, or otherwise known as shrapnel, that's probably going to bounce back. You just may get hit. And I observed when I watched the video, nobody was wearing safety glasses either. I mean, I always wear them. And that's
really?
just a given. Yeah, no safety protocols whatsoever. And Tannerite, the company that makes that, had to point out that the Tannerite sitting on the table where they were firing, not a good thing. We don't condone it. You should have it at least 100 yards out there. I mean...
well, as far as a reporter taking a little bit of shrapnel, I mean, the reporter's supposed to get the story. Nothing proves that you got the story more than bringing some of it back with you attached to your arm like that.
He definitely got the
story. Clay's here, guns to the 701-828 at K-Fire. And Chief Justice race for the Montana Supreme Court. What the heck is going on out there?
Well, I brought that one up because it just shows that you got to pay attention to a lot of these other races. And the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court's a pretty important one in my mind. And this guy, he's being funded tremendously from out-of-state money. I mean, all over the place. And he's not a friend of the Second Amendment. He basically kind of threw down, we have the same law in North Dakota where Montana passed the Montana Firearms Freedom Act, which essentially says that if everything was made in-state, produced in-state, and sold in-state, you don't have to abide by what the federal regulations are. And I agree with that. It's a commerce thing, and if everything takes place within your state, there's no reason to have it regulated out of state by a federal agency. Well, this case went to court, and Judge Lynch happened to be the federal officer supervising this federal lawsuit. Because remember, he was a former federal magistrate judge. And when he did that, he went into all the reasons and whys and cherry-picked all the information he could to say, you know what, I don't think you have any standing in this case. You have no reason to even bring it. And he dismissed the case on those grounds. I mean, this is a 59-page document. It was written with his very clear goal to dismiss this because he himself disagreed with the legal principles that the case was coming forth on. He didn't believe you should be able to do this. He didn't believe anybody should be able to manufacture and produce everything in state. And he's kind of known for being that way after looking into him. So that was his judgment. Funny thing is when it went back to court, to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which they're no friend, of us. You know, Rush used to call them the Ninth Circus Court of Appeals because they were so crazy in their rulings. They even overturned this thing. So he's not a suitable candidate. The Montana Shooting Sports Association came out big against him, as they should. They were also listed in the case along with their president, Gary Marboot. And I can't agree with them more. I thought I'd bring that up because it is so close to North Dakota, right on our border. And judges are important, just like your county commissioners and your local commissioners. It's all important. Watch those cases because most of the time people don't even look who the judges are. They just vote for the candidate on the ballot. So this guy's no good.
As long as the Hollywood element of Montana stays in Montana, it doesn't start filtering over. I'm not talking about the good Montanans. I'm talking about the people who suddenly think they're going to... I watched Yellowstone, and I can be like that too, Montanans. Those people.
Yeah. Those people, yeah.
You know, because it's like, anybody can do any of that. Shut up. No, they can't. Stop it. Clay's here. It's Guns in the 701, 831. More on the way on K-Fire.
K-Fire, 550.
Right. 846 and K-Fire Guns in the 701. Clay's here with me. And serious health conditions don't stop kids from hunting Wyoming big game. Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I had this sent from a listener. I want to thank him for that. I thought it was kind of a cool, nice, uplifting story for the weekend.
Yeah.
A kid by the name of Caden Archer, he achieved his goal of basically harvesting an elk. Now, the thing is with this guy is he's unable to walk because he's got cerebral palsy. It didn't stop him. He knew he wanted to do it. He went ahead and he set his goal, and he achieved it. So he's just hunting about 200 yards out. He's from Indiana, so there's not a lot of elk down in Indiana. So he's used to shooting a really 200 yards or less. But he had to crawl about 75 yards to get across. And I don't know if you've been between that Farson and Lander, Wyoming area. It's not exactly smooth down in there. There's some rugged country down in there. I've actually been down there hunting myself. And, of course, like any landscape like that, full cactus. So he had to do that. And I like his comment. He says, of course, he says, my adrenaline was going. Then I had to sit there after crawling 75 yards. I bet it is. I had to sit there for about 20 minutes just to calm down before I took the shot. That's what he told the Cowboy State Daily, where this article come from. And he made the shot. He dropped that bull. It sounded like one shot and drilled it. I mean, I don't know, Todd. I know a lot of guys around here that on deer season, they can't do it in one shot.
Yeah, no kidding.
They hit, wound, miss, whatever. And at 500 yards especially.
He can't walk, but darn, he can hunt pretty darn well. That's awesome.
He can definitely shoot. So that was great. And then he says, I knew that I had a task to accomplish. He's very uplifting. Something I wanted to get done. I came to Wyoming for one thing and one thing only, to kill an elk. And you just got to love. So here's this kid that has went and surpassed cerebral palsy, can't walk, a lot of things in his way, right? And that didn't stop him. He just went and did it.
We all need to remember that story. Anytime you're having a day where it's like, I don't think I can, I doubt that I can do it. But really? This dude shouldn't have been able to do that, and look what happened.
And he did it. Yeah, that's what was great about it.
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, this is just that's like, I don't know, like you said. Everyone, we got it pretty easy, don't we? We got all our limbs. We can walk, we can talk, we can hear, we can see.
Well, my knees are shot, but, I get your point.
Still walk.
I can waddle, but, it's still probably better, but,
Yeah, and this kid's like, nah, I'm not going to let that stop me. I can kill it. And Sarah will call it. I mean, I can.
This dude needs to be like on a speaking tour and have everybody, show everybody what he did and then get him up there and have him, have him talk about, geez, anything's possible. Darn it.
Absolutely. And his dad, he said it was a family first trip to Wyoming. They loved it. It was made possible by, I didn't realize this, it's called Muley Fanatics, and they have a foundation out there. And they're the ones that put this on. They call it the Putting the U in Hunt program.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, and
that's
then
clever.
Bring kids out, and they're just proving that the kids are capable. Don't treat them like they can't do nothing. And I've had family members with disabilities like that are physical, and don't treat them any different. They don't want to be treated different.
No.
They don't want you feeling sorry for them, and they're probably more, they're more achieved and more, I don't know, you could say they're going to accomplish more and get it done than you or me because they have an actual goal and they have a reason to. They're going to overcome it. I mean, probably some of the most motivated people I've ever met are those that suffer from a physical disability like that. Yeah.
It's Clay Guns of the 701 here, 850. Gas station clerk, in fact, right by Boeing, of all places, in Seattle. I had to double check on the map where that was. I mean, I remember living out there back in the 80s, and East Marginal Way. You're talking right by Boeing. Shoots suspect in self-defense during heated altercation. I'm thinking every single gas station clerk ought to be packing.
Yeah, especially out in Washington. And that's why I brought this, because that state isn't exactly known to be gun-friendly to anybody. And I knew where it was, too, because I've been out there. We had a big meeting out there my last year when I was with the NRA, and it's not a nice place. We didn't stay far from there. Wait, what the heck? Did we come down here and into the hood? Good thing we're at the NRA, right?
I mean, there are some beautiful parts of Western Washington, but that Boeing-ish area of Seattle is not. Yeah, that's not
a nice place. You definitely want to be careful.
I mean, if you have to pitch a tent because you got to live out under a bridge, maybe, but no.
There was a lot of them under the underpasses out there. I can tell you that.
No, this is incredible. Ugh.
Yeah, so this thing, basically, the clerk was taking a break. He went out to his car, taking a break, and basically didn't think nothing of it. He seen these two people that were sitting, out there, and he asked them to leave the property, which that's not unusual because they were doing narcotics in their parking lot. But, I mean, a lot of private businesses say, hey, don't loiter. But, these guys are doing drugs. And then sometimes in those big cities, it's like, oh, I don't dare go up to them but still. Well, you get a situation like this. He said it to him. Then it escalated very quickly. They called the guy. They identified him as the suspect. They don't have the name released yet. Became hostile and threw a rock, shattering the clerk's car window. So then he threatened the clerk, stating, I'll shoot you too. That's when the clerk got a little bit nervous. He said he feared for his safety. This man, the suspect, he approached the vehicle then in a threatening manner. Well, not a good deal. He reached into his waistband. The 69-year-old clerk responded by firing a single shot. He hit the guy in the abdomen. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be hit anywhere. I sure don't want to be hit in the abdomen.
No.
There's a lot of things there to damage. So the suspect fled across the street and collapsed, kind of like when you had lung shot a deer or something. Anyway, in a parking lot near a Jack in the Box. I guess he's not going to get his burger. Anyway, authorities arrived on the scene shortly after, provided aid, took him to the hospital. He's expected to survive with his condition listed but not serious, but stable. So I guess, to me, this whole thing, even though the guy, and not every single self-defense use has to end in a death, and that's fine. This guy used his self-defense firearm, did it in the right manner, cooperated with police, which, by the way, they took his gun, so now he can't defend himself till the investigation's over, I guess. But it shows how important it is to always be ready and always be aware of where you're at.
Always train.
Yeah, always train. Always train, because you're never going to be trained enough for a real life situation.
Yeah.
But you might as well have all the tools you can. So, yeah, absolutely.
Go to the 701. When's the new stuff hit?
Well, the new stuff here hits right away on iHeart.com. Get on there and check us out on the podcast. You can download the best one out there. And K-Fire is a member of that, so we really encourage you to get over there. Right here every Friday, 7:15 Mountain, 8:15 Central. November 4th, we're going to be on Dakota Mornings with Michael Bell. Thinking of Ballard Resort. See, I got fishing on my mind already. Anyway, that's going to be at 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. In the Mountain Time Zone. And then this Wednesday on Guns in the 701, I'm going to have Jason Heidkamp. He's with DPI candidate for North Dakota Superintendent of DPI. We're going to talk a lot about when North Dakota passed the legislation to allow, concealed carry and carry in the schools and what that's all about. So then on tune into that. And we have a new Facebook page, Todd, and they kicked us off. So everybody go hit that, search GAT701. Well, I guess we'll be on there until they kick us off that one too. So
Well, now that I'm on there with you, you probably have days numbered right now. Sorry in advance. All right, Clay, have a great weekend.
You too, Todd. Catch you later.
All right, take care. 8:55. And before we hit the aforementioned Michael Ballard, as we're going to call him apparently today.